Hey everyone, welcome back to the Soundbite. My name is Andrew, and today we're going to be taking a look at a band called The Sweet. They're originally from the UK, sort of 70s sort of glam rock. So I thought I'd take this one. This is actually a suggestion, and I completely forgot about this band because I actually do remember listening to them as a kid. I kind of grew up a little bit on a lot of British rock when I was a little kid. So I discovered this band quite early on and just absolutely loved them. The guitar work was phenomenal and probably ahead of its time, because I'd never heard anything from any band during the era in the 1970s that were doing the kind of guitar work that they were doing. If you know bands that were doing stuff like this, let me know because I'd love to check it out. Because I'm sure in 1974 when this came out, this was probably unheard of. And still to this day, I just am still blown away by what they were doing on the guitar. But this was suggested by a Craig Rathbun, who suggested The Sweet, with a song called Sweet FA. It comes off their album Sweet Fanny Adams. I remember listening to the cassette tape of this. I think it's still floating around somewhere, I think. So it's probably not a super well-known band outside of the UK, I don't think. So I don't know if a lot of people in the US know who they are. I don't know how sort of widespread they got or how big they got. All I know is that I remember listening to them as a kid and going, "What is this?" It kind of was one of my early introductions to like real sort of guitar work. Yeah, it's just sort of like going back down memory lane because I haven't heard this in a really, really long time. So this is going to be really cool. Let's check it out. The Sweet with Sweet FA. Remember this. This is definitely very 70s sounding. This, however, I don't know. I think got a different vibe to it. Apart from being off the song.
Well, it's Friday night, I need a fight. The she don't spread, I'm gonna bust her hair. The guy's gone mad because he's
Didn't Motley Crue use that line in that song?
Never gonna make it. People think we fake it. Now we're gonna take it.
Just want to quickly pause it there for a second. That line, it's Friday night, I need a fight. Didn't Motley Crue use that in a song? It was on the what was the I can't remember the name of the song. Let me know in the comments if you remember the song at all that I'm referring to. That they used that line. Obviously, this is 1974, so this obviously predates Motley Crue and everything, because this is kind of one of the original glam rock stuff in the 70s, the first wave of glam rock. So this sort of predates all the 80s stuff. But yeah, that's a line that Motley Crue used. I did not know that. Whether they took that, I mean, they must have. It's too much of a coincidence for that to have just been just a similarity, because that's too close to the bone right there. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, obviously Motley Crue would have borrowed a lot of the influences from the original sort of glam rock of the 70s. But to take a line straight from that, yeah, that's interesting. Let me know if you know anything more about that. If you know about this already, and if you know the story behind it, if Motley Crue ever acknowledged it, or if the Sweet themselves have actually picked up on that at all. But yeah, it's an interesting footnote there. Cool. all that special effects in the background. That's
Try to pull me out like a roustabout. Gonna spend my bread, then I'll kick your head. You're just my size, but if you're so wide, see the chick in black, maybe she'll come back. Sweet and fake, never gonna make it. Sweet and fake, people think we fake it. Sweet and fake, now we're gonna take it.
I just want to pause it again. Sorry for all the pauses here, but there's too much to kind of mention before I actually forget about it. But two things to note there. The Sweet FA thing, I always thought as a kid, even though the album is Sweet Fanny Adams, I always thought it actually meant like I sort of when I grow a little older, I kind of always thought that meant sweet fuck all. So I don't know why. I don't know. I always thought that was the reference there, and they kind of got away with it by using Sweet Fanny Adams. Honestly, that's obviously a term as well. But yeah, does anyone know if that actually if is that what they really meant? The other thing as well that sort of ties into that is I always felt that this band was a little more aggressive. It had a bit of an aggressive sort of sound, and also the way that the singer used to sort of sing and sort of use those lyrics like he just did just then. There's a sort of a somewhat aggressive tone there a little bit, I kind of felt. And that's kind of what I liked about it as well. It's kind of like heavy metal before heavy metal, I guess you could say. It certainly had that sort of like I said, aggressive tone to it, which I definitely liked. But it's funny how I pick up on it now, so many years later, and it's kind of still there, and it still sounds aggressive to me, even though it's obviously if you listen to the music, it's quite tame to all the later stuff, but like it's still got that sort of same tone to it, which is quite interesting. But this is where they go nuts on the guitar now, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the hustle's now really nice somehow.
What was in there for some
See the
reason?
streetcar scenes from the black limousine. Shout it out, let it all hang out. But you won't get rough, cause it's all of love. Sweet and fake, never gonna make it. Sweet and fake, people think we fake it. Sweet and fake, now we're gonna take it. Sweet and fake.
I was going to pause it quickly right there. I thought the guitar solo part was going to come in earlier, but I guess it might be coming up now. But yeah, this song is definitely bringing back a lot of memories from when I was a kid when I first heard this. It's really the only album that I remember hearing actually was the Sweet Fanny Adams album. I don't remember listening to any of the other albums. So for those out there who are fans of the Sweet and know who they are, give me some suggestions that kind of follow on this same kind of stuff, because I don't know how long they continued making music. I know they were still around fairly recently. They've been doing tours and stuff, so but I don't know if they've been creating new music or anything like that at all. But let me know, certainly from this era of the band, let me know what I should check out as well, because like I said, I don't remember listening to anything else outside of this particular album. So because if it's anything out, if this is not even the best album, then I definitely have to check it out. So there we go. The Sweet with Sweet FA from 1974 off the Sweet Fanny Adams album. Sweet Fanny Adams album. It's a bit of a handful to actually say, actually. Yeah, that guitar solo at the end. When I first heard that as a kid, it just blew me away because I'd never heard anything like that before. You know, obviously there were the Van Halens and stuff like that. You know, the just a lot of guitar players from the era that were sort of doing some really crazy and wild stuff. And obviously there's people like Hendrix that were before that and things like that. But I don't know. I hadn't. It was different. I mean, I hadn't really sort of gotten caught on to a lot of that kind of guitar playing yet. So that was the first time I went, like, well, what is this, yeah, it's interesting, like going back to this so many years later now. And it's funny how Craig Rathbun, who mentioned this as a suggestion in the comments about checking it out, because I don't think he would have expected me to have known about this band probably, or maybe not. I don't know, maybe, but it's been interesting to sort of go back to it again. But like I said, give me any suggestions on what else I should check out that's maybe not on this album. Although I'm sure I'll be checking out more from this album as well, because it's been a long, long, long time since I've actually heard any sort of stuff from this particular release. Yeah, because I remember listening to this on the cassette tape, and yeah, it was one of my go-to albums in the early days of my listening experience. So there you go, the Sweet FA. I kind of still think that's sweet fuck all. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you know anything more about that. If I'm onto something, or if it's just the sort of where my mind seems to be going with that initial Sweet FA, because it is obviously a saying as well, So thank you for tuning in as always. Please subscribe if you haven't. Thank you to those who have subscribed, and please check us out in the links in the description below for all our social media, and I'll see you in the next video.